So, you want to learn how to draw a nose? Go from this to this. Though no shapes, dots, noses. Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm Reyoulidraws, and in this video, we'll be covering the most common, most basic and important nose angles you should know how to draw using some basic shapes. So let's start. Firstly, the front view. This is the easiest nose angle to learn. Mastering the front view nose will give you the confidence to draw noses from any other perspective. This is a reference I'll be using for the front view. It's linked below if you want to follow along with the reference. You cannot draw noses without some basic shapes. So I like to start off with a horizontal line. The line is a guide that indicates the limit to where the object stays. Nothing gets past this line. Next, we'll be drawing a circle. Not the best circle. This circle can be referred to as the ball of the nose. This circle determines the size of the nose. Now, the nostrils. We'll be using a curve. As for the shape, think of an open triangle like this. So the placement of the nostrils is really important, as too close or too far apart will make the nose look weird. So rather than drawing the two nostrils as separate entities, instead connect the two nostrils via the septum. And another mini triangle. The septum is the fleshy portion between the two nostrils. It's below the tip of the nose, which is usually like around here. This is optional, but we can add the philtrum here. These come down from both ends of the septum. To draw your septum right here, just think of a definite U shape. Moving on to the wings of the nose, which is also called ala. To draw the ala or wings of the nose, we'll be using a triangle. We're going to start off the triangle at the middle of the nostrils, this point. Continue on to bring our triangle down here. Set it right where the line of the nostril ends at the bottom. In the middle of the nostril line, the upper nostril line ends. So the wings of the nose, we start with a straight line, and then when we get to the edge of the triangle here, form a curve. Just keep going like again. We start off our straight line here. When we get to the edge of the triangle, we just form a curve, and then we have the wings of our nose. I'd really recommend you to give this sketch a quick try, and if you've got this down, then congrats! You've passed the most important stage of drawing a nose. To determine the length of the nose, we're just gonna add another circle sort of at the center like that. We're gonna use a simple vertical line from here and just draw that. Now this part of the nose is called the ridge. This portion of the nose may be short, long, extra bony, crooked. It's up to you. We have the bridge. For the bridge of the nose, I'm gonna use another horizontal line to indicate the bridge of the nose. We can also sort of go with a triangle as well. Let's just stick to the line for now. Now if you're wondering, oh, you don't know how long to make the ridge of the nose, again, it's really up to your stylistic choice, but to determine how long this portion should be, just make a curve here at the bridge here, make a curve that kind of slants down, and make another one right above the ball of the nose, like this. Now, if it looks weird, so like out of place, then you can readjust the length of your ridge. Basically what this is a flat portion of the skin, and it leads into the cheek actually. Ridge of the nose indicates where the nose length should stop or really start. This is the top of the nose. The point of the bridge is actually where the top of the eyes are at. So a little tip there for drawing a whole face, and the eyelid will be above that. You see, for the front view, the shapes are pretty straightforward and simple. So now let's just clean this up a bit and see what we've got. For the underside of the nostrils, we can just use the same shape that we use here for the top of the line of the nostril. It's going to be the same open triangle shape, but it's going to be the opposite open triangle shape. The nostril, it's going to be in shadow. Here I'm just loosely shading to indicate the ball of the nose and to highlight the tip of the nose. We wouldn't have to strictly follow the guidelines, depending on how realistic or stylized we want our nose to look like. So remember that the triangles for the wings of the nose are actually right angles. They denote the basic triangle that we use for the nostril. Our vertical line for the ridge of the nose and for the bridge of the nose. Our next common nose angle is the 3/4 view. This also follows the same basics as the front angle, building our circle off of that. In the front angle, I started the nostril from the left, which was more comfortable. You can still start from whichever side that's comfortable for you, but for the 3/4 view, I would recommend starting from the angle that the nose is facing, and here the nose is facing the right. Start with our triangle right towards the edge of the circle. We have our mini triangle here. I'm gonna connect to the other nostril by drawing our definite U. So the nostril at the angle which the nose is facing is farther from us, the viewer, so therefore less of the nostril will be visible. Triangle right here at the edge of this nostril, the same way we did for the front view. Just gonna bring our triangle down here and starting from the middle of the nostril line, form a triangle. At the edge of the triangle, we're gonna curve. Same thing on the other side. At the edge of the triangle, curve. So keep in mind that for this angle, both of the nose wings are visible, just like in the front view. So the nostril at this angle and the nose wing is not completely visible compared to the other side of the nostril and the nose wing. Our vertical line to determine the ridge of the nose, this is going to be slightly slanted to just indicate the direction of the 3/4 view. Our bridge here. Let's take up some of our guidelines and see what we've got. Nostril is going to be in shadow. For our next nose angle, we have the side profile view, starting off with a horizontal line here, a circle to determine the width of our nose. For the side profile view, before placing the nostrils, first need to determine the shape of the nose as well as the length. For this, we'll be using a triangle. The vertical lines of this triangle determine the length of our nose. The bridge still works the same. Following the shape of the triangle, draw a slightly diagonal line here at the top of the circle. This is where the tip of the nose is formed. Follow the line of the circle, just like that, how the circle curves down to the bottom. Placement of the nostril to take into account the septum of the side profile view. Draw a little horizontal line, vertical line coming down from the horizontal line, a triangle. Now for this side profile view, triangle line extends. So starting off a little away from the arch of the triangle here for the nostril, triangle for the nose wing, remember to right angled triangle, continue on, make a curve at the edge of the triangle here. The fill trim is really just a line, through curved, could even add a little bump here. Make the tip higher, sharper, rounder, and also the septum here, just the underside of the nose here, you could also make that sharper or rounder. It's really up to your personal choice. So the reason why the nostril line here actually extend is because unlike the front view, we actually see all of the nostril. Only one nostril is visible and one nose wing. Another quick angle. This is the underside angle. First, we're gonna start with our horizontal line and then our circle. For this underside angle, we'll be using a large triangle just like we did for the side profile view. However, the placement of the triangle is different. So this placement is going to start from the top of the circle. The underside nose angle can be either from the front view, 3/4 view, profile view, or any other perspective. For this, I'll be using the 3/4 view, the tip of the nose. Now for this angle, know that the septum, for example, our 3/4 view here, Yes, the septum is visible, but we actually don't get to see under or below the septum. But for this view, the entire portion of the septum will be clearly visible. Our septum here is actually still going to extend, still maintaining that definite U shape. And with this angle as well, just going to take that up, there's also going to be a lot of space. And our right angled triangle and end at the bottom of the nostril. So you can see more clearly. We have our open triangle there. So the wing of our nose. And for this angle, the tip is going to be more like here, because it's going to be like a slight slant. For the ridge of the nose, we started from the tip of the triangle. So you've learned the basics of drawing noses, but you'll still need to master your fundamentals, and eventually you will need to rely on these guidelines. So how do we go about that? Of course, practice. Let's start with an easy one to warm up with. Angle here for this one, the angle is going to be from above. We're going to be using an upside down triangle. Same way we use this triangle here for the nose where we're looking at the nose from below. Because we're looking at the nose from above, the nostril is not going to be completely visible. And when we go down to form our definite U shape for the septum, it's going to end abruptly. Very minute, almost not noticeable triangle there. But be careful with using these guidelines for this angle, because we're looking at the nose from above and the septum ends abruptly, because the septum is not actually visible to us, because most of the septum now is under the tip of the nose, and the tip of the nose is also not going to be at the center here. It's going to be lower. The tip of the nose is going to be lower. The nostril is going to extend into the wing of the nose like that. So quickly, the placement of these triangles not there. So the placement of the triangles are going to be here. It's still our right angle triangle, but where the triangle starts and end is different than other angles, like the front angle. Our philtrum actually still extends the same way. I hope this video helps someone find drawing noses interesting, and if you are interested in a more in-depth video on nose rendering process, or if you have any questions from this video, you can let me know in the comments below. Thank you to everyone who has shown abhorrent support in these recent days. It really means a lot to me. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.